Fellow developers, if I could take a moment with you, and before we start our project, that if you could please go ahead and comment on the video and let us know what you like or you didn't like about the video. Go ahead if you would and subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up if you think the video was useful. And now we continue with the project. Welcome back, developers. Today we are going to take a look at what it takes to work with the SQL commands of Outsystems. Sometimes we find ourselves needing to access SQL statements directly from the database tables, and that's what we're going to cover today. So we have a page here that is blank, called SQL test, and we are going to fetch some data from other sources. So we right click and we get the following. Our data action is in place and it's got an out variable called out1, and if you'll notice it says text for a data type. We're going to come back to that. All right, so we'll grab the SQL widget called SQL1, and it brings up this editing on double click. And here we're going to put our statement. So we do open curly bracket, and we're going to look at the state codes. But yeah, let's go back a little bit because here's how OutSystem works. It's curly brackets, name of this table, close curly brackets, and then that brings up the list of the columns in there. So we select code from the table, open curly brackets, states, and close curly brackets. Okay, and we hit test and we immediately get an error, and that's because we don't have anything to display it as. Here's where the structures come in. We are going to add a structure that has one item in it, and that's going to be the state code. And we're going to call this SQL test, and I don't like that, SQL test code. And okay, let's call it get SQL test code. There we go. All right, and here we are going to add one attribute, and it is state code. Notice that it comes up with state table. We don't really want that to be our data type. We want that to be just text. All right, so it looks good, and we will drag it over here, put it underneath the output entities, and we'll hit test, and boom, it works. We got one column with all of the state codes. So far so good. We're going to close that. Now we have to get it out of the this widget. So we assigned a variable, which is the out1, right? The out1 variable from the action, and that's the outbound variable. And we're going to, this is a little bit tricky, and you'll see why. Our choices, we cannot give it a list, and you'll see why in a minute, but just go with me on this. We will come up here to this page and see that our outbound variable wants it to be text, but we don't want text. We want list because we want the whole list. So we change that to type to list, and now we can come back here and we can click on the drop down arrow right there, and we see that we have a list to assign. All right, we're halfway there, guys, or even better than halfway there. Now we'll just test it. We'll bring a table over and we'll bring the data over, and boom. Let's see what we get. And this should be good. This should work, I think. And we'll browse. Yeah, it's going to show the home page, which I don't want to. We want to show this page. Oh, my nemesis, the login. Okay, so I need to close this. Come back here. I need to set it to anonymous. Click on that. And it browse. Darn it, I forgot to compile it. All right, so this is gonna fail. Hey, even I make mistakes, guys. It's no big deal. There's always a way of getting back. So let me close this. And now we know that that's the page that I want. And I know that anonymous has been checked, so it should work. So yeah, there. See, anonymous is checked. Double check there. And okay, now we can browse the page. We'll compile it first. And now we'll browse the page. And magically, OutSystem gives us a list of all of the code, the state codes. Okay, so that shows you how to do, just part of a column, essentially a column from a table. But what if you want to do the whole table? Well, let's clear this up. Let's start over again. I am going to create another data source. And in that data source, I'm going to put a SQL widget. And in that SQL widget, I am going to call return, no, get all state records. Okay, so I want to pull everything back. I want to pull the whole table. I'm going to make this 500 just in case that United States grew by 10 times. Okay, so here I am going to tell it to give me a table, right? Because we want all of the states, all of them, right? All the information. Well, okay, let's see how that works. So open curly brackets. We've seen this. Whoops, no. Open curly bracket and states. Close curly brackets. Dot star for everything from open curly brackets state for the table. Close that. Okay. And let's test. We got the error, right? Why do we get the error? Because we don't have anything coming out in the entity source structure. So this time I'm going to bring, last time we did a structure, remember? And to add a structure, you go there, you add a structure, you give it some name, and then you put whatever data you want to return. But in this case, really we want to return everything. So that's the same thing as returning the table, right? So let's do that instead. Let's kill this. Delete. There we go. And instead we are going to bring back the state table. There you go. Now, if you test the outputs, we see that it's bringing all the columns, which is what we want. And if we hit test, it shows all of the data. Perfect. Okay, that's exactly what we want. So we're going to assign our outbound variable to the values, or the values to the outbound variables. And what are my choices here? I want a list, but it won't let me hit a list, so I'll just hit current. What will that do for me? Let's see. Now, I'm doing this because I know exactly what's going to happen, but I'll show you guys. I'm going to bring over a table, and I am going to bring my value. And look at that. It only brought back one row, or actually one record. Why did it bring back one record? Well, what did we ask out of that variable? We asked it to bring back this data type. But that right there represents a record, one row. What I want is a list. So I'm going to click on list, and I am going to click on states. Excuse the dog. It's an 80-pound dog. You're going to hear him in the background. Okay. And here now we have a state list. So what happens from the SQL part right here on the, we have current. That's not what we want. We do not want list current. We want list, and there it is. State records.list. Perfect. So I think now that if we drag this SQL over, action, we see that it brings in all the columns as a list, which is what we want. So we'll compile it. And we'll hit view browse. And boom, there we go. We have our list. Please comment on, and if this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can get a heads up when we get a new video in place. All right, see you guys later. Have a good, this is being done during Christmas of 2020, so have a good and safe Merry Christmas. See you guys later. Bye.